Soon we will have a live channel. Here it is. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adventure on so many levels. We're going to play some Dungeons and Dragons.
Woo!
I am Christiana Ellis, and I am the Dungeon Master. Our players tonight, Jenny Meltzer as Zaleen,
Hello.
Paul Fisher as Zinhorn,
Good evening.
Starla Hutchton as Carolina,
Hello, friends. Forgot what I was going to say for a second.
Mark Kilfoyle as Nedry,
I'm always confused. Should I start with the small questions and work my way up, or the big questions?
and we are missing our Chooch this evening, so Sequential will be NPC'd this evening, but we expect him to return the next time we have an episode, which won't be next week. So announcement: we're off next week, but not this week. So let's recap what happened last week.
We read a book, or it sort of read us, or something. It was a very nice animated pop-up book.
That sort of traps you in it.
I mean, for various definitions of trap.
Yeah. You're not very trapped when you have someone who can solve the puzzle instantly. But yes, indeed, the book that had been recovered from the treasure cache that Tanglefoot, this monster you have prisoner, asked you to go get for him. You decided to check it out before giving it to him. Probably a smart move. Or was it? Because it seems like maybe it was exactly what he wanted you to do. Unclear. But in the meantime, you read this book. You learned something. You learned a children's story version of what happened to Dinuthere. And then afterwards, there was some kind of a dimensional ripple that seemed to emanate out from you guys to at least everywhere that could be seen from the top of the castle. Unclear what that is. But you all last time finished off with the battle cry of "to the library," or perhaps "to breakfast," but it was already a little late in the morning, so maybe brunch. So I think we'll pick back up as you're all kind of finishing brunch. There on the roof of the castle. Looking around, and people have mostly gotten back to whatever they were doing. You know, that strange ripple that emanated out was weird for a second, but then seems to not leave anything different in its wake. So people have gotten back to work on the Skydock and going about their business. But what about the pocket protectors? What business are you going to go about?
Well, at least one person should go to the train station and make the statement.
I thought that was going to be you because you're good at making statements.
I think what has been passed along to you is that they are interested in having the whole group come along if possible.
So why don't we get that out of the way?
Well, if we have to, I can read along the way, I suppose. You know, we're there.
So I think Yobert says the request has been that they would like to have you come in and make a statement today if possible, but it could be into the evening. They would prefer you to tell them what time it should be, but they would like it to be today if possible.
Do they need a written report? I haven't finished mine yet.
I think he said no.
What time does the library close?
I think that there are, depending on, what level of access you have, like, kind of like with some university libraries, it doesn't really close per se, but they might stop letting riffraff in at a certain point.
I think we might still be at the riffraff level.
I have goals.
So maybe get that out of the way first. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Well, I plan to be there all day.
Well, I mean, the day is more than half over at this point.
Into the evening then?
Well, then maybe we should do the train station first. On the way to the library? Is that on the way? I assume I would know.
Technically, where you're being asked to go is an administrative building that's not too far from the train station, but not the station itself. It's in the old city. It's one of those buildings where there's a very old, big, fancy tower that's part of it, but then a more modern building has kind of been built up around it as, expansions. But, there's the part of it that looks like an old tower, and then the rest of it that looks like a different style of architecture.
Oh, you have to do some research? No problem, Sequential. We'll let them know your whole part.
Yeah, I think that he and Sorashana are going to be going over those metal spiders and the other strange metallic creatures that you found on the loading docks. That Zinhorn
I mean,
and Nedry.
technically, it wasn't Zinhorn and Sequential didn't interact with the guards except to wave at them through the hole the one time.
It's true.
So,
Yeah, it's one of those things where Yobert says, it strikes me as rather informal. They requested that the whole group come, but they didn't mention you all by name or anything like that.
I think probably the only name they had for sure was mine.
No, they had
No, you
No,
gave him,
we
they
gave
have
them our
measures too?
names.
you gave him the business card.
Yeah. Anyway, so who's ever coming, we should go get that taken care of first because the library sounds like it's going to be a while. So
It's not like they're going to arrest us. I mean, they probably would have done that already, wouldn't they?
I don't think they would be like, come when you have time, if they were going to arrest us, really.
mhm.
Maybe they want to thank us.
Maybe. I do still wonder if they caught that other spider.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about that.
Me too.
So one small note before we go and do this. Nedry, you have an amazing gift for detail. And you know a lot of stuff.
I'm working on it.
But I think perhaps what they're more interested in is like big picture things. So I'm thinking maybe don't offer more information than what they directly ask.
Big picture. Okay.
Mhm.
I think it would be a really good idea unless they directly ask anybody else questions that we just let Carolina talk.
That was actually going to be my suggestion. Yes, if they have like direct specific questions, which they might, like for Nedry, since that's who they were first interacting with. But yes, do not offer them more information than what they ask for specifically.
But what if they don't know the questions to ask? I faced
Well,
that.
we don't want to help them with that, though.
Why not?
Because we want to go to the library.
Yeah, we don't want to get in trouble. So if they don't know specific questions to ask, then there's less of a chance that we'll get in trouble for this.
Okay, but I really think they should know just about everything.
I don't think that'll work out well for us.
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't tell them about you. I don't mean that. I mean everything about the spiders and, well, maybe not everything about Tanglefoot either. That would be a little complicated to explain.
Yeah, I don't think they even need to know why. I mean, we already gave this story. The goblins would have already given the story. Or
Yeah,
not the
the-
goblins, but
The kobolds.
kobolds would have given the story that, the ceiling collapsed. If you start telling the truth now, that could get the kobolds in trouble.
Mhm.
and it will get us in more trouble. So we'll just let them ask the questions, and unless they ask you anything directly, just let Carolina talk because she already knows what she's going to say, and she's really good at talking. You're really good at asking. She's really good at telling.
That's
Are we-
true. We all have our gifts, and yours are very, very useful. But I think maybe in this situation, mine might be more useful.
Are we lying to them?
Well,
Not really.
we're just withholding information because they don't need to know how the floor under there collapsed. It might have already done that anyway.
This is one of the reasons
And
for to talk to academics. We don't keep these kind of secrets.
so the thing is, we already know that the information that we've stumbled upon regarding Dinethir is dangerous. And anything extra that we might tell them could lead them down those same paths, and they would not either be prepared for it or able to handle it, or it could be just fatal to them to know it.
Okay, but I'll be keeping a pretty accurate record because, well, at some point, I suspect they're going to need to know if it's as weird and big as we think it might be.
Well, and we'll cross
Flying
that
stuff
bridge
is
when
too
we come to it.
complicated. I can't remember all the rules.
But for now, let's just keep to what we've already said, and I'll handle it. Like Zaline said, you know, ask
Okay,
or answer only when directly asked.
Yeah,
stick with the big picture.
I think
Mhm.
Yovere will say, my position does give me some influence that I could potentially get you out of a sticky situation if necessary, but I think I tend to agree that uh, probably best, if possible, to avoid directly lying to them. But there's also withholding information when it's sensitive and dangerous and not needed for their investigation.
Right. Okay, I'll try.
It'd probably help you to try like really hard if you just focus on taking notes about everything because you do that really good too.
Hmm.
Although
Oh,
I
that's
don't,
actually a really good idea. If you could just take very detailed notes and write down everything that was said, in your shorthand, as accurately as you can, as quickly as you can. Then it's even easier to report back to Lord Yobert what transpired.
okay, I don't expect to learn that much from them, but I'll try.
The one other thing that I'll mention is that because you are traveling there with my authorization, uh, I've granted you the authority to represent me as this group. You will be given some leeway when it comes to weapons. Um, Most people would not be allowed to carry weapons within this administration building. What I would suggest is they won't search you, but I would avoid provoking them with openly carrying, if that makes sense. They're not going to ask you to turn everything in, but it will avoid complications if you are not obviously armed.
You don't
Okay,
have
that one I
lockers
can
or
do.
something we could just stash our stuff in? That would be easy.
Well, I mean, if you wish to turn, they certainly have lockers that they would be happy to have you turn all your weapons in. I assumed that you would prefer to not do that.
Well, the thing is that if we're gonna do, give this statement and then go to the library, then we wouldn't have to come all the way back here and get our stuff and then go back.
No, I assumed that you would put things in the bag.
Oh, that's a good point. I always forget about that.
So
That
my
is
Really-
point is,
put his dagger
they
on the
are
table.
going to assume that you have weapons. It's more it's more manners than anything.
Oh, of course.
We aren't going to have to fight them, are we?
I hope not.
That
If
would
we
be
have to fight them, something went really, really wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't be the first time.
yeah. Things go wrong a lot.
I think that would be difficult for even I to smooth over if you were to actively engage in combat with government officials.
Yeah, I think we're gonna try to avoid that one.
Hmm.
I wonder if
Sounds like
we
a
know
good
about the
idea.
spiders down by the docks too.
I don't know, but we could find out.
Okay.
So we have the one that we're taking with us, right? We're taking
We're
one with
taking
us, right?
one, and then we had the
Yes.
other ones. Like we
Yeah.
can, yeah,
Okay.
because Sorshana and Sequential were going to study the other
Mhm.
ones.
Okay. Well, are we ready then? Everybody get
so.
your stuff? Oh, have you picked a hat for today, Zaleen?
Yes, I have. It is a very elegant, wide-brimmed sun hat that matches my magically flowing cloak perfectly.
Hmm.
A very fashionable choice.
Thank you.
I just envisioned the hat having like a big long silk ribbon that drapes down enough that when the cloak billows, it kind of makes the
Yep,
hat ribbon billow too.
that is the truth. Because the cloak is always billowing. I'm just unless I stop it.
I think by the time you're all heading into the old city, it's we're into early afternoon by this point. I think it's kind of a warm, maybe this is transference a little bit, but it's a warm. It's a little humid today. It's a little it's a little sticky. It's not the nicest weather, but it could be worse. And you make your way to this administration building where, as mentioned, I think most of you knew it as a sort of landmark from outside, whether you had actually ever been inside or not. But it's definitely got a tall, old-fashioned mage's tower sort of looking tower, but then almost more like a standard office building that has kind of been built up around it. And so the tower itself really only still forms one corner of the larger structure now. But there is a big fancy, front entrance on the newer part of the building with the big, archway that has various, I guess it wouldn't be in Latin, but has various platitudes in, like honor and justice and liberty in Draconic or something like that.
Honor and justice and liberty, etc.
Yeah. But so there's a big marble lobby in there and, a sort of reception area. And then a just past this initial foyer is like a waiting area where there's lots of like benches and seating. And it looks like people probably waiting to be seen for whatever business they have there. And then other people kind of coming and going and traveling through. But Yobert would have told you that he was letting them know when you're coming so that you could just make your way in.
Is there like an information desk or directory of some kind to find out where we need to go?
Yeah, so I think, yeah, that makes sense. I guess I was kind of assuming you'd go to the reception desk, but I guess there's not really a need for that interaction. You've been told where to go. You've been told that you are meeting with Marshal Tabitha of the Stars, who is a tabaxi. And so there's like a directory on the side that says, okay, yeah, 4G to go meet with her. And so you make your way up to the 4th level and look for the various rooms. And there is a big room that's a fairly solid construction in this building. Like it's not, there's stone walls here, and everything is fairly sturdy. You know that this building, it's as part of the old city. Even the newer part of the building is not super new, and it's kind of still got that old defensive, old empire architecture. So you're in this sturdy windowless room, but it's got a nice like conference table and chairs and stuff in it. And
What's
that's
the conference table made of? Stone? Like everything else?
no, I think the table is probably wood.
Okay.
Yeah, the table is, it's not like an expensive like one gigantic piece of, polished hardwood. This is a functional table for a moderately nice meeting room. But that is where you have been told your appointment is, and so you just head in and sit down, or what?
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
We
So
push Carolina to the front
Open
and
my book.
Nedry to the back. Make sure he's got his book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you go in and sit down, or just kind of chilling out, or there's no one in there at the moment.
I'll stay standing for the moment.
Yeah. All right. So you're waiting only a couple of minutes before a middle-aged tabaxi woman in a uniform comes in, and she's trailing behind her a young half elf who is in a less fancy version of the uniform, who has a lot of like scrolls and clipboards and everything. Seems to be some kind of a page. And she comes in and says, "Ah, greetings. I assume you are the pocket protectors."
We are. It's lovely to meet you. I'm Carolina Swift, kind of the spokesperson for us, I suppose you could say.
Greetings, greetings. I am Tabitha of the Stars. I am the marshal. I'm in charge of security here at the administration building here, and including several of the city structures, including the train station and so on. I thank you for coming to meet with me today. I wanted to get your version. Sounds so clinical. I want to hear from your perspective how everything happened the other night at the train station. And this is my assistant, Daryl, and she gestures to the half elf, who kind of like, shuffles the scrolls around so he can wave, and he'll just be taking notes.
Of course.
Do you need water or anything?
I think we're probably all right. Thank you for the offer.
Okay, so she kind of sits down with her assistant there, and we don't necessarily need to go through every piece of the story, but I guess I want to know, what's the high level version of what you say. Like, what is, we don't have to like role play the entire every detail. It's more just like, what do you say? What's your version of the story as requested?
Well, Nedry had in the past he had enchanted their sign on their produce stand, these kobolds, who were very nice. So he was trying to help them out, to make like little announcements and stuff. He enchanted it with a speaker type of thing. And this was fairly recently. So when they had this trouble, they, immediately contacted us. And, it was a mess. It was the ceiling had caved in, and there were these mechanical spiders and something else we don't have a name for, that we had to take care of. And the spiders spilled over into the train station, and, we were tracking them down, and they're kind of dangerous. And Nedry didn't have a lot of time to explain. So it was very, there was a lot of confusion.
Uh,
I have a name for them.
oh,
It's a work in progress, but I've called them automata wire spiders. Their webs have a most peculiar form where it's nearly invisible to the sight, but extraordinarily strong and very, very dangerous.
And at this point, we would produce the spider example that we have.
yeah. So she looks it over and kind of moves to safe to touch. Yes.
Yes, it's quite inactive.
She sort of prods at it a little bit and says, "Ah, yes, looks similar to the one that they recovered."
Oh, they
So-
did catch it. Oh, that's a relief.
Yes, yes. I'm sure. After all, after they asked you to leave and leave it to them, they had it became a matter of honor, of course. Our station security folks generally are. Um, they take their jobs seriously, and that's how we like it. And sometimes they make things a point of honor, and that works out just fine for us as well. So I am very glad that you were able to, corroborate some of these details. It does seem clear that the kobolds created the actual cave-in. I mean, I can only assume, after all, came from their territory there, and they fled the scene, of course. So, seems very likely that that would be the case. But I wanted to, I guess, find out more about this organization, this Pocket Protectors team that you do. What is the mission statement of your organization?
Well, essentially, what we've set out to do, there are a lot of these little pockets of other space that aren't quite. You're aware of the different planes of existence. Yes,
Oh,
this is
yes.
a material plane. Yes. So there are these other little pockets that aren't quite attached to other things. And they can open randomly. Some have very specific windows of time that they're open. Zinhorn here, as for example, spent some time in one, and the time there passed very differently than it did here. And to my knowledge, he's been unable to get back to it. And
dear.
yes.
It's where I originally came from.
Well, I don't wish to presume, but it seems as though you've landed on your feet.
Yeah, but I'm when I went into the pocket dimension, it's 80 years later when I came out, and my parents may still be in there.
So it's cases like Zinhorn's that we've kind of made it our priority to find these places and help any people connected with them to either get out of there, or if they're trying to find one and like get back in, such as to find Zinhorn's parents, perhaps. It's things like that. That's our goal. But in doing that, we come across other things that don't belong, and so we take care of those as well, because our mission is basically to help people in any way that we can.
Well, I must say, I do like to hear that sort of thing. After all, in this city, we do have security provided in places where there are those able to pay for it, and, areas where it's a public good and all. But it does break my heart sometimes to know that there are common folk out there unable to hire their own private security, and it's nice to see an altruistic organization like yours. I assume that you have negotiated this arrangement with Lord Relent?
Correct. So he pays us a nominal, per day fee kind of thing to kind of, keep us fed and everything like that, cover any expenses we might have, like if we need new clothes, But yeah, he's our patron of the group. This was actually his idea that he had come up with. He would like to map out different pockets that exist, hopefully with the intent of having helping other people avoid getting trapped in them or things of that nature.
The team was his idea.
Yes.
She kind of leans over and whispers something to her like assistant. He's been busily taking notes all along, and it's just I don't mean to imply anything suspicious or untoward. It's more just a matter of, occasionally we do see teams of adventurers looking for wealthy patrons, and sometimes we can find that there's fraud or misrepresentation going on. Now, I wouldn't have thought such a thing in this case. Lord Relent is pretty sharp. I've met him at a couple of occasions. But I did just want to clarify some of this because I'm curious, what's your expertise on these matters? Because it's something that in the city we do occasionally encounter troubles of this nature. Would you be
Where?
interested? I'm speaking in generalities at the moment, my boy. But my point is this something that your organization would be interested in to act as a sort of...
Yes.
Well, there it is, I
Absolutely.
suppose.
We would love to assist you in any way we could.
Do you keep records?
She kind of sort of stifles a chuckle and looks over at her assistant and then back and just yes.
Awesome.
Many of them are classified, of course, because some of them involve people with needs for discretion, that sort of thing. I'm not saying that we would be just opening our archives to you, but sometimes we may be in need of people with expertise.
Of course. And we do try to be as discreet as possible. Sometimes, as you can see from the train station, that's not always possible, but
In the middle of your sentence, she suddenly gets a look like she's hearing something you don't hear. And her face kind of looks a little confused for a second. My apologies. I've just been contacted by my staff. They contacted me magically so as to avoid too much of an interruption for our meeting here. But if you don't mind, it is something I need to take care of with some urgency. So I will be back shortly if you will all just wait here for a moment.
of course.
And she gets up to leave, and her assistant doesn't immediately get up, but she rousts him and brings him out with her. And then as she leaves the room, you hear the door lock click when she leaves.
Well,
Is this going to be much longer? This
I
nuts.
really want to go to the library. Did you write all that stuff down?
Of course.
Let me see.
Sure,
It
my
is like-
book, where it's practically word for word.
Yeah.
Although
Ow.
it's abbreviated.
So I think that it's possible Nedry wouldn't have even noticed, but I think some of you would have probably noticed that when Darryl, the half-elf secretary, was taking his own notes and he was noticing Nedry also taking extensive notes, there was definitely a one-sided competition there.
I almost said something, but then you guys kept talking. I was like, I just keep seeing
Yeah.
like Nedry and this little.
Just imagine a cutaway with
Yeah.
Flight of the Bumblebees playing or something.
Yeah. Well, and the Darryl keeps looking up and looking over at him, and he's just yeah, getting into it. They left rather suddenly, and she did lock the door behind her.
well, That's not usually a good sign, but
I think it's great. If they keep records on this sort of thing, we'll be able to find a lot more. And
Maybe.
maybe we'll be able to find some patterns that they haven't. They don't seem to really understand what's going
Or
on.
maybe they found patterns that we haven't.
Oh, that would be nice. They're not really academics, though. They don't strike me that way. Maybe
You don't know. Maybe they are. If they have a team of people that looks into this kind of stuff, maybe they do have some people that know things.
Maybe.
That could be helpful.
Nedry, you receive a magical sending, and it's a voice that you last heard after your encounter at the bridge.
Oh.
And the voice says, "You will be arrested and interrogated. Give me the bag and I can get you out. Refuse and be banished with the rest. Decide now."
That's a weird sort of. Why would you say that?
Who are you talking to?
It was our friend, I guess. I don't know.
Which friend?
Let me finish this conversation first.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think that's pretty much it. They threatened me, I guess. They said I was going to be arrested and to give them the bag right now. And I guess that was supposed to mean not be arrested.
Carolina, do you still have the sending stone?
I do, but I also have regular sending now, so
Oh. Well, you might need to save that spell. You never know.
so I will send a quick message to Lord Yobert to let him know, kind of relay what Nedry said.
Okay.
And that don't forget to tell them that they locked us in this room.
Along with that,
Well, what actually do you say? Just because
Let's see.
if he's
they let's see. We answered questions, went well. They locked us in, and Nedry received a message from
13.
let's see. I'm trying to I don't think we know his name.
Wasn't it like an orc or something?
Yeah, orc from Bridge Encounter.
Got 8 more.
Demanding the bag or risk banishment. It's 24.
Is it possible that he wants us in the bag and he's offering to carry the bag out?
It didn't sound that friendly.
Oh.
It was more like he just wanted the bag, which I'm not going to give it to him.
You should give him Tanglefoot.
I'm not so sure that's not what he wants.
No, let's not do that.
Although, it means that he must have been watching us.
Do I get a message back?
Yes. It takes a moment. Lots to process there. I will contact my friends in government to find out what I can on my end. I would suggest you not give up the bag, but do what you need to do.
I knew we should have gone to the library first.
Me too. Now I'm never going to get to read books.
Don't
So
ever say
it's possible he could just be bluffing. I mean, maybe he's in this room. I don't know. Maybe he does work for the government. I don't know. I have no idea. But I feel like we should just sit tight.
I might be able to tell if he's in the room.
Yeah,
We haven't
you
done
gotta
anything
see
wrong.
invisibility.
I'm going to use detect thoughts.
Okay.
Same way I did last time with him.
Yeah, so not in the room. So you
Doesn't
don't
seem
detect
to be.
anyone in the room other than yourselves.
Not here. I'm gonna hold on to it.
The
Oh,
door suddenly
sorry.
unlocks and opens, and you see Darrell, this half elf again, but with a very different sort of body language to him. Very intense and serious now, and looks at all of you and says, "Hand over the bag. This is your only chance. Do it, and I can get you out safely. That's it." Holds out a hand.
Um, with
No.
the detect thoughts up, I would have been distracted, or Nedry would have been distracted by Darrell opening the door, and probably would have focused on his mind. So
Okay.
I will proceed to read his surface thoughts.
Yeah, I think the surface thoughts are essentially, I hope they do it, but it's gonna go bad either way.
I probe deeper, or try to,
Okay, so let's see. Let me.
kind of instinctually, really.
Yeah, just occurred to me I could have had his stats up before. Um, yeah. Yeah, I think to clarify what I was just saying, the surface level thoughts are more like, I hope that they see the wisdom in this. That sort of feeling. Like, he thinks you, not only does he want you to, but he thinks you should. Like, to the extent that he cares about your well being, he thinks that you should do this. But that's you know, up to you to process further. Taking me, I keep talking instead of pulling up the thing. Okay, there we go. Um, it's a wisdom saving throw. Is that right?
Yes. Wisdom DC 15.
All right. That is a fail. Um, what is it that you are trying to learn when you probe deeper?
I guess connection to the orc, or connection to why that he wants this bag.
Mm-hmm. Um, I think what you probe through and the first couple of layers that you get through there are that both this half elf that you're seeing now and that orc are both illusory disguises for that this person uses or is using now. You don't know necessarily the history of it right away, but that the you get the feeling like this is the guy,
Oh,
and that he is not this half elf you see before him, nor is he this orc that you heard described previously. Those are both illusory disguises.
You're.
and he'll say it out. Actually, he'll say "you're" out loud, and then finish in the mind of probably Carolina.
You're the same one as under the bridge.
Wait,
And then
why?
that's telepathic. So he only says "you're" out loud, and then switches to telepathic to speak to
Okay.
Carolina to finish the sentence.
Okay.
To do with that? Just kind of look at him
Um,
and then look at the elf.
He holds out his hand again and says, "You have 10 seconds.
Well,
Longer than that, and I won't be able to help you either way."
if you really
Help
want
us
it,
what?
And I'll open up the bag open towards him, and see if it captures him.
Well, so like you would have to do a melee attack roll to try to like put it on him because he's not reaching into the bag.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure how that would work with the. Let's see. Okay.
I want to know who you are and what you know about all of this. If you tell me, maybe we can work together.
give it to me first and we can talk about it. This is your last chance.
Kind of looks around at everyone else. I don't know if I trust him.
I would like to cast cause fear on him.
Okay. Okay.
So
is that
wisdom 14.
Okay. He got a 19. But as soon as you do that and he sees you casting the spell, his face just, becomes this hard stare. He pulls some strange looking, it's almost like a potato when you let it go too long and the eyes start sprouting little roots and everything like that. But the whole thing is just this sickly fungus like white color. And he just says, "Too late." And he throws it on the ground where it sort of like splats. And then he disappears.
Do I feel like that's magic?
Yeah.
Can I counterspell it?
Wait, okay, hang on. The potato thing is not.
Okay.
I'm trying to think, because it's not a spell.
Okay, no problem.
The thing he's doing is not a spell.
Okay.
Yeah, so he activates a thing that he is carrying, and it's not a spell. So he vanishes in a sort of puff of smoke, and you see this splatted thing start to like boil almost, and you can see weird little sprouts and vines kind of emerging from it, and some of these little things are like emerging tendrils, and some of them are crawling along the ground, and then some of them you can see are actually like going down into the floor, and some of them are like probing upwards, and it's starting to get bigger.
Can I cast Dispel Magic on it?
I mean, you can cast Dispel Magic on it. I'm not guaranteeing a result.
Because I'm trying to decide if this is like a magical item or a creature. Yeah, I'll try.
Okay.
I'll try Dispel Magic.
All right. Go ahead and make your a check with your spell casting modifier, which is charisma for you, because it's not third level or below. It's in terms of its strength.
Let's see. The DC equals 10 plus the spell's level. So let's.
So just roll a charisma check. I will tell you. You don't need to.
Oh, charisma. Okay.
Yeah.
Saving throw or check.
No, it's a check.
Okay. Ugh, why didn't you? Here. $13.
Okay. Unfortunately, it does not seem to have the effect you were hoping for. It is growing now. Like the initial sort of splattered like impact was maybe only like 7 or 8 inches across, but even just as you've watched it, it's extended its reach by several inches, and it seems like it's continuing.
That's not good.
I think Nedry's kind of fascinated studying it.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what kind of spell this is. Or if it's some sort of item or object, or maybe a plant and caught in mid-stage of its growth.
I don't know, but it's not good, and it's getting bigger.
I'm going to throw some holy water on it.
Okay.
Does that make it grow bigger?
It makes it wet. Although it was already a little bit slimy in its texture, the holy water doesn't seem to have any direct effect on it one way or the other. But you can see as it's starting to like spread across the floor, it's increasingly obvious that some of these like little tendrils that it's probing out are definitely like going down into the floor, and as far as you can tell, meeting no resistance at all. And it's sprouting all of these little like, perhaps finger thick, tendrils that are, some are probing out laterally, some are kind of waving in the air looking for something. And then I think one of those gets close to the leg of one of the chairs and starts like wrapping around it. And there's other ones that you can see kind of underneath that are like going down into the floor. Just it's not like they're burrowing through the stone and you see the stone being carved away. It's like they could just go right through it, almost like it's phasing through somehow.
Oh, that's not good.
Can I Eldritch Blast it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna do Sacred Flame as well.
Okay.
I was like, fire, set it on fire.
Sure.
Yeah.
You're close. It's not moving. You don't. I think you don't have to roll to attack. Just roll damage.
6.
Okay.
And then for the second one, just roll damage?
Yeah. And then same for Sacred Flame.
Okay.
Well, Sacred Flame is a save.
Well, I
Yeah.
know. I'm just saying,
Oh.
just roll the damage because it's like it's not moving around. It's getting bigger in the same location. It's not
9.
evading. Okay.
Eight
So
points of damage.
15 total.
Okay. Yeah, so you definitely see that where you hit it, you've definitely done some damage to like its spreading nature, but what you see is that like where the Eldritch Blast hit it, it definitely destroyed a part of it directly where it impacted, but the pieces of it that sort of like were blasted outward a little bit kind of just land wherever they land and then start spreading where they landed. So you destroyed some of it, but you also spread other parts of it. The Sacred Flame doesn't have that same sort of explosive effect. It does seem to damage it some, but not enough to stop its growth.
Do it again.
Is it blocking the door or?
No, it's not currently blocking the door. Like
Uh,
it's like off to one side of the door.
I feel like we should run out into the hall and yell for help.
Yep. Sounds like a good idea to me.
Okay.
Yeah. You're all kind of pushing past it to get out into the hallway.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I'm gonna.
In what order?
I feel like maybe I was closest to the door because I was talking with the person, so I would have been.
Well, Nedry was
There.
probably closest to the door because he was talking to the elf, half elf.
Well, but he was also
Hi.
looking at and studying the thing. So is he first out?
No, I probably looks too closely at it. Looks over, sees the door is ajar, and
Mm-hmm.
he'll do a second thought about it before too long. But somebody else will go
Yeah.
first.
So what I'm looking for here is whoever is last out.
I'll take last.
Okay.
Nidri's kind of backing out so he can watch the thing as he
Okay.
moves away.
Yeah, so Zinhorn, you are able to avoid it easily, but you see as you are finally making it out of the room, the last one of your group out of the room, it is expanded enough that like some of the little tendrils reaching out, one of them kind of makes a half-hearted grab at you. But you're able to easily avoid it, but it seems that it's continuing to grow and develop in such a way that it might do more of that in the future.
Can
do
you-
anything that
Can
gets
you
near it.
Sacred Flame it again?
Yeah, I'll do Sacred Flame again on my way out the door.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm gonna hit it with Mind Sliver to see if it does anything.
Okay.
Yep,
Mind
10
Sliver.
points.
I feel like Mind Sliver seems like it. Does it have any sort of a statement in there about something must have an intelligence of whatever?
He just needs a mind.
I guess.
It must make an intelligence saving throw.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't say
Huh.
otherwise.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess that. Like, no, this thing doesn't have a mind. I'm gonna rule that that makes no sense for it to.
Well, it's just a cantrip, so I was
Yeah.
like hoping it would work.
No, I hear you. I like this is a slightly interesting cantrip in that regard because it just like the description of it really feels like it implies that you would need there to be a mind, but this is kind of like a plant. you know.
Yeah.
Um, I
Well,
will.
he doesn't like
lean-
acid.
I'm gonna like reach out and toll the dead too.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that with you all kind of like pouring your cantrips at it, like you've gotten out of the room and you're able to kind of still attack it through the doorway. Are you just all kind of standing there and just Eldritch Blast, or what?
No, I did toll the dead that time because
Okay.
Eldritch Blast made it spread. So
Yeah,
it
and-
took
and definitely
9
gonna call for help.
necrotic damage.
Okay. Okay. The Toll the Dead does seem to have, like, of the things you've tried so far, that seems to have the most significant effect so far. That it does seem to like shrivel a little bit and stops in its growth briefly when you
Ooh.
do that. The Eldritch Blast, like it's you kind of just like spread it around
Right.
a little bit like a grease fire.
Yeah, so I will like if Zinhorn wants to like repeatedly sacred flame it, I will like toll the dead again.
Well, I just did a Toll the Dead and it rolled, I think, 2d12.
Yep,
Mhm.
because it's already
So-
missing hit points.
Yeah, I got 22 points of damage on it. So
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you are definitely causing this thing to start to like shrink and shrivel a little bit at this point. But I would also encourage all of you to make a perception check.
Perception. Mine is 23. It's I mean, since we're inside, I don't think it's really at disadvantage from the sun.
13 for me. That's not
I
great.
wonder how it manages to phase through things. I should be able to learn how to do that.
16.
Oh, I wonder if acid works on it. How about fire?
So all of you are able to hear that there is like from various directions in the hallways, you are hearing various shouts of alarm. That sound like, people like calling out in like, fear and surprise and shock and dismay and that sort of emotional spectrum. But I think, Zaylene, with your 23, you also hear a little bit further away someone very seriously sounding, saying, "We need to make sure we secure the subjects. Whatever's happening, we need them for questioning."
Guys, we gotta get out of here.
But I haven't finished testing.
Nedry, listen to me. We need to get out of here. They want to detain us and study us.
Really?
Yes. I don't know the answer, but we can ask all those questions of each other once we get out of here. So we need to make a run for it.
So I can turn 2 of you invisible.
Oh, wow.
And
I can fly if we can get me to a window.
I can just
But-
look like somebody else. So
Zinzorn's getting pretty good at it. Just remember to breathe and stretch and don't try to push yourself too much.
Okay.
So, as you were casting Toll the Dead on it repeatedly and attacking it, you were seeing progress made in terms of like making it shrivel backwards. But even as you kind of just stopped doing that continuously, it's already growing again.
Okay.
All
Well,
right.
let it eat these people who want to detain us.
Yep, it's their problem now.
Yep.
Is there a window or a balcony or something?
None that you can see from where you are right now. But let's say, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to decide whether it would be a survival check or an intelligence, like history check, to say like how well do you know the layout of this building in terms of where you are and where you would need to go to get to like a window.
What would it be?
Well, I was just trying to decide. Does someone want to pitch?
Could it
me on-
be? Could it be like a survival check?
Yeah.
I'll try that.
I think a survival check would. Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay, I'll try that.
Would I have been in this building to try and get
Nope.
some kids out of trouble?
Well, how about
No.
this? Let's roll a history check for me.
Right. 10.
Okay. Yeah, I think maybe you had come to a different part of this building, but not up here.
Okay.
Zaleen, what was your survival roll?
9.
Okay. Yeah, so I think what you guys, so first of all, you don't immediately, as a group, know which way is the shortest way to go. But are you still standing there outside the door to this meeting room? What are you doing?
I
No,
started
I think-
pushing everybody to move away.
Okay.
Yeah, let's head back toward the way we came in.
Let's go away from the sound of all the voices.
Oh, that's
Sure.
that's a
Yeah.
better idea.
Yeah.
Okay. So you did hear the voices coming from the direction that is the way that you came up, which was up through this central stairwell.
Okay.
Um, but you can go in the other direction.
Carolina, you can change your appearance.
Mhm.
Make those 2 invisible.
I can make you invisible, and
I can be a shadow.
Okay, all right. That's what you want.
It's
Here we
okay.
go. And I will boop each of them with invisibility, and I am going to become. Who am I gonna be?
It's really weird. I can't even read my own notes.
Shh, you must be quiet, and you cannot use any spells or attack anyone. And I'm going to shift into. I'm going to be Philindra today,
Aha.
I think. So what you see now is a sapphire blue dragonborn, no wings, with a very stern expression to her. Like, all right, now we must get out of here.
Okay. I am going to cast the silhouette on myself, and I'm going to follow behind Carolina and try to stay in her shadow.
Okay. So those of you who are invisible, what is the plan as far as how to stay together? For those of you who are invisible, how are you proceeding? Is it just kind of an assumption that the invisible folks are going to do their best to stay with the others?
Mhm.
Yes.
I only see Carolina or whoever she is.
Follow
You can see
Carolina.
my shadow too. You know that my shadow looks like that, so you'd probably be able to see that.
You're a little hard to tell apart from other shadows.
True.
All right, children, come along. Let's go.
All right, so you hurry down this corridor and you discover that as you turn the corner, you see that apparently that thing that this individual threw down at your feet was perhaps not the only one he had, because you find that the corridor that you were going to continue down is blocked by a very large patch of that is now completely filling and occupying that particular hallway with all sorts of tendrils that are clearly penetrating into the walls, ceiling, and floor, and is starting to wrap around and encase all of the furniture that it can reach.
All right, we're going back the other way.
Okay.
All right. We follow, and I work really hard to be
Be
quiet.
And I'm going to sort of I'm going to be rushing, but I'm going to look very upset, almost angry,
Sure.
but
sure.
very put out.
Okay, so as you are running back towards the meeting room where you were, you happen to glance in, and you can see that the patch that's in there is considerably behind where the other one was. You think the other one must have, in addition to having been temporarily slowed down, it was also started later. But it's certainly starting to, it's taken over about a quarter of the meeting room already, and it's one of the chairs that it has wrapped up seems to be only half there. You can see half of where the chair should continue. It's not rubble. It's not. It's unclear, because you basically see this fungus-like web over it, but then the chair is it's like it's sticking out of a wall, but it's only half a chair. I feel like I'm not describing this very well.
I feel like Nedry would have to stop and take a look at that.
Yeah, so it would be a little bit like if you sawed a chair in half and then laid it down on the ground with the sawed edge on the ground. That's what it looks like. One of these, the tendrils are all wrapped around it, but it almost looks like it's pulling the chair down into itself somehow.
Creepy.
That's definitely creepy.
Yeah. So you hurry on past that and heading down towards the stairwell there, and you come across coming the other direction is a squad of armed and armored soldiers wearing the Emperor's insignia, and they are gonna come. They're charging in your direction. I need stealth checks from those who are being stealthy and a performance check from Carolina with advantage because the stealth checks are at advantage for your various things regardless. Performance check at advantage because of your disguise.
So, does that count for all of us or just for Carolina?
Okay, she's rolling performance with advantage. You all are rolling stealth. And you're rolling stealth with advantage because you're invisible.
Okay.
Do I get to roll with
So,
advantage?
Yeah, I think so.
I naturally
Not
have
the second one.
disadvantage, so my first roll is going to count.
22.
It didn't send my second one for some reason, but I got a 19 and a 24. So
I got a 19 and a 1.
Okay.
So I said
well-
the first roll counts.
Yeah. So, what did you get, Nedry?
10. So I'm pretty sure as they're coming by, if we're stepping out of the way, he'll say something like, "Oh, sorry."
I think with everybody else, doing well, I think as a group,
I will be making a lot of noise.
Yeah. So I think that, well, you know what? I'll just include it in the stealth checks you already did. You see them coming, and those of you who shouldn't be seen do have the thought process necessary to move out of the way so that they just don't run into you. You kind of press yourselves against the walls as they go past, and one of these soldiers looks to you, Carolina, and says, "Ma'am, we need you to get out of the building immediately."
Well, I never. I came here for a meeting. There are potholes in my street, and
Tell your story walking, lady, and they're pushing past.
oh. I'm gonna go on downstairs, huffing the whole way and
Okay.
mumbling about something about potholes and
Yeah.
what a mess.
So Nedry has had telepathy for a while. It's not a spell thing, right? There's no casting.
I mean, remind me why you have it.
I have a feat. It gave me telepathy.
Oh, okay. So I just I didn't remember. So what's the question about it?
It's not magical or an action, right? To use it just like speaking.
I mean,
Would you know if it would break the
that's...
invisibility? Basically, is the
Oh,
question.
no, it would not break the invisibility.
Okay. So before they completely get out of sight, the guard that's probably closest to the door, in his mind, he'll hear Nedry's voice say, "Try things like necrotic. It seems to not like those as much, but it keeps growing anyway. So be very, very careful." And then he'll start running down because he can't leave them without knowledge.
Yeah. Okay, as you're hurrying down the stairs, you hear one of them shout, "Someone was just talking in my head. They're around here somewhere."
He heard me.
Cast a derisive look behind me and then keep on going
Over here.
because I don't know exactly where Nedry is.
Yeah. All right.
You could
So
see the look on my face right now.
Can invisible people see each other?
So you are hurrying down the stairs, and you're intending to go all the way down to the ground floor, I would assume, because this stairwell does that. But as you are, reaching the second floor level, you look down and you see that the bottom of the stairwell is a writhing mass of this same sort of fungus tentacles.
We jump over the stairwell.
I mean, no. I what I'm saying is like there's nowhere to go. The entire bottom of the stairs, it's like floodwater has risen up to that level.
This stuff is amazing.
Well, I think as we were fleeing down the stairs before we got to this point, I probably would have sent another message to Lord Yobert, updating him on the situation.
Okay. I mean,
Vines everywhere, not good.
well, I mean, tell me when you're like, are you doing that while running? Is that what I mean? Because I kind of
Well,
assume you're all dashing and stuff.
Well, yeah, but it's just the sending spell in my head, so I don't actually have to like say anything or anything,
Okay,
right?
well, but yeah, it's fine. It's just a little bit weird. Like you guys, if the flavor of the scene is that you're all running as fast as you can to escape somewhere, it seems a little weird that you're like sending in the middle of that. But that's okay. So what are you sending though? Like bearing in mind that the fiction is that you guys are hurrying downstairs in fear for your life.
Well, it would probably be something broken like that, like vines everywhere, real mess. They're out to get us, and then like that would be it,
Okay.
because we would be running.
All right. So as you are stopped short by the fungus at the bottom, you don't get a response from Lord Relenth right away. I think, like,
I just imagine he's standing there. My lord, Brendan, they're being devoured alive.
well, he's
Yeah.
standing there. Well, so we briefly cut over to the castle, and he's standing there, just going like, "What am I supposed to say to that?"
I'm just trying to keep him updated. That's all.
Yeah, he says, "Thank you for updating me. I'll do what I can, given that I'm across town right now."
Okay, so we're on the stairs and it's enveloped like that entire floor?
Everything that you can see from the stairwell, anyway.
So
There is
the
nowhere
main
to go continuing down the stairs.
Does the main stairwell have any windows?
What you have is the ability to go out onto the second floor of this building. You don't
Okay.
have any windows in the stairwell.
Okay. Well, then,
Okay. Let's go out the second floor and well,
unless we want to head up.
Does anybody, Nedry, do you have a fire cantrip or a fireball?
Whoa. Okay. I think that let's see. I guess Carolina's the only one that's really visible. But no, I take it back because this thing definitely has blind sight. I'm going to roll a d4 to see which two of you have a big tendril attack you.
Well, I hope it's not me because I only have 18 hit points.
It is Zaylene and Carolina. Carolina, you take 6 poison damage.
Does it doesn't roll to hit, it's just an automatic?
I already rolled to hit. It got one got a crit and the other got a 19.
Okay.
So I said poison. I meant acid damage. 6 acid damage, and you are currently grappled by this tendril. 9 acid damage for you, Zaylene. You are also grappled by this tendril. You guys, while you were standing there trying to decide what to do next, these tendrils.
All right.
Nedry, do you have the fireball cantrip or fire of any kind?
I pull out a small diamond with one hand, pull out my pen, and start tracing chromatic orb. And I will use, I'll use fire.
Okay,
Okay.
before you drop it, I'm going to grab the oil that I have in my bag and I'm going to pour it down on this thing.
Okay. You're pouring it down. Well, grappled. So this is a common misconception. So consider this just a brief, like for everybody, that grappled does not mean you are tied up and can't move. That is what restrained is. Grappled is like the equivalent of a person grappling you is grabbing your shirt in a way that you can't just run away. They've got a hold of you, you can't get away, but you are not like tied up or in a full Nelson or a restraint or something like that. That's the distinction between grappled and restraint. So essentially, consider it like it's wrapped around your leg or something.
Okay.
So you can
So-
pour oil on the tendril that's on you if that's what you want to do.
Okay.
Are you doing something, Carolina?
Uh, I'm trying to think where everyone is in relation to me. So are they all behind me?
Well, you guys were all, you were coming down the stairwell and you were on the landing about to descend further to the first level, but then that's where you saw that the first level looked flooded with acid fungus.
Okay. Um, well, I can't see them, although I could see where Zaleen was. But so from in front of me, I'm going to cast Thunderwave just to
Okay.
try to clear it away.
All right. All right. Go ahead and roll the damage of it.
16.
Uh, okay. What's your DC?
15.
Okay. It beats that, and so with a 17, and so it'll take half that, and
Yeah,
it's
and it won't
not
get pushed away. Damn it.
Yeah. So you've definitely you see bits of it sort of get blasted away, but it's like a great big hunk of lichen or fungus, and you sort of you blasted away a little chunk of it, but didn't really seem to harm the overall material very much.
Gotta get away from it.
All right, Nedry, are you casting chromatic orb?
Yep. So he draws kind of a crude outline of a crossbow across the front of the orb, kind of aims it, closes one eye to try to get distance. Never tried this before like this. Let's see if this works. 15 to hit.
Okay, yeah, you definitely hit. Were you were aiming? Were you trying specifically to hit the tendril where Zaleen poured the oil?
He's not that good, so it would have been more or less just aimed at it to see if it works.
Well, so my point. So yeah, okay. If you're just aiming at the big mass of it, you definitely hit hit that. And so, what was the damage of it?
Just rolling it now. 14 fire.
Okay. You rolled to attack, so it didn't.
Yeah, 15 to hit.
Okay. Yeah. So you blacken part of it, and it seems like you've done damage to part of it, but you can also see overall that the whole level of it is growing. Like the mass of it is still expanding. You are also no longer invisible.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I think it's a cool image though of just we start to see the fiery orb sort of conjure in midair, and then just as it's released, the trail of it is what reveals the rest of you. I think that's kind of cool. But yeah, so you've done some damage to it, but it has still got Zaleen and Carolina grappled.
So did it react any differently to getting hit by fire than it did from Zaleen's rays or the sacred flame?
Not
Chromatic?
really.
Okay.
I'm gonna hit it with. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Toll the dead.
Okay, so you are also no longer invisible, and it makes a wisdom saving throw. That's going to be an 11.
11 points of damage.
All right. Yeah, so it shrivels away a little bit, and what I'm actually going to do is Zaleen and Carolina now need to make strength saving throw, but they can actually make it at advantage because of the necrotic damage it just took.
$13.
Okay.
Oh no. Wait, 15. Sorry.
Okay. So Zaleen got 15. Carolina, you got 13.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina, you are pulled off your feet and dragged closer to the bulk of this material. You are currently now adjacent to the mass of it, and it's still got you grappled and it's pulling you in. Zaleen, you are able to stay on your feet for now, but it's still got you grappled.
Okay. Is she far away from me?
I mean, I think you were probably pretty close because you were both sort of just you're there on the stairwell here. You're kind of on the landing for this, this big stairwell. And
Okay.
so,
I will reach out and touch her.
Mm-hmm.
so that this like kind of trembles through her too, and I will cast Toll the Dead again.
Okay. Uh,
You hit
wait,
Carolina.
you're
It hurts.
touching.
I'm touching her so that like the bells like go through both of the tendrils.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Okay. I think.
It's
I
not
mean,
a
I
touch
think
one, though.
Toll the Dead is
No.
doesn't really. Okay. You know what?
No.
I will allow it absolutely for flavor here.
Yeah.
Dead.
That's all. I wasn't like
Yeah.
nothing like that, just so
So,
it was like
what-
a thing.
what-
Yeah.
So you do that, and basically what it's going to allow you is like you do some damage to it, and it's potentially weakened a little bit, and so you're essentially maybe giving yourself advantage on attempting to break the grapple. But here's the thing that you're seeing each time you guys do damage to it is that like this mass of fungus is clearly much bigger than the one in the room. And so you're doing small amounts of damage to small parts of it. You're really not making headway on the overall mass of it. And so I think having done that a little bit, you're maybe moderately weakening the little tendrils temporarily, but you're not killing this thing.
No, I just want to get away from it.
Well, so the thing you
Yeah.
can do to get away from it is instead of casting a spell, you could try to break the grapple and actually try to get away. That's what I was suggesting.
Mhm.
But you can do that check with advantage because of the necrotic damage you just did to it.
Both
But-
both of us?
Yes,
Or-
but the point is, if what you want to do is get away from the grapple, what you have to do is try to get away from the grapple as opposed to
Right.
attacking.
Yeah.
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 Okay. So it's a strength.
It's actually acrobatics or athletics, whichever you prefer for escaping a grapple.
Acrobatics definitely better. Ooh,
Definitely.
wait.
19.
Okay, I don't. What just happened here? Okay,
You
yeah,
rolled
one
with
of them.
advantage.
Yeah, one of them was a natural 20,
Okay, yeah, that's definitely so. I think
so 26 total.
Oh, mine was like 20 total, but it was a dirty
Okay.
20.
yeah, both of you are able to sort of, pull and kick your way away from the slightly weakened tendrils and scramble away. Carolina, you were prone, so you're having to sort of scramble to your feet. But where are you all going? Like you can go back up, or you can go out onto the second floor.
I think we had.
Out onto the second floor.
Yeah, second floor. Stay low. Try and get to some place where you guys can jump without getting killed.
I'm going
We got to
to.
get out of this building.
I have a thought on that.
Okay, let's get out of here right this second. I can
Mhm.
cast
Go.
invisibility on you guys one more time.
Okay.
Once
Go.
more. So, okay, I'm doing it.
All right, go before we get captured again.
Okay, so
Yep.
you're running down the corridor on the second level. Are you casting the invisibility again?
Yes.
How long has it been?
Not very long. I mean.
Okay, so it hasn't been more than 10 minutes yet.
No, definitely not.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. But as you're running down and you recast the invisibility, you come to an intersection of two hallways, and looking down one of them, you see more of these like fungus tendrils emerging from a patch in the ceiling down that way. But then the other way looks clear.
Ooh, go that
Go
way.
the other way.
Yeah. Well,
It really doesn't like us.
It doesn't like anything. It just wants to eat this whole building.
Have we seen any other people? Because
mean- Yeah, no, I mean, there's definitely people running around, and like this was an occupied office building.
mhm.
Yeah, so there are definitely people running around.
Are they getting eaten?
Well, you don't see anyone like directly in the clutches of it so far, but you also saw like quite a big mass of it that would be difficult for people to avoid.
So as we go, I'm going to like bang on doors, like if they're closed, to say, we had to get out. Get out. Flee the building.
Go ahead and make a persuasion check.
$23.
That's pretty good. What I think you get is a lot of people starting to crowd around you because you are acting like you know what needs to happen, and they're saying, "Oh, okay, where to? Where do we go?"
The main stairwell is cut off. Is there another route out? We have to get out as soon as possible.
They, let's see, one of the, let's see. Yeah. So one of the people that you have gathered to you, you've got a group of like 5 or 6 like office worker types, and one of them is a halfling woman who says, "Well, there's a pedestrian bridge that goes to the building across the street down that way, but there's also a fire exit that way."
Um. uh, well, we have to get out of the building. Is the I think maybe the bridge might be the best option here.
Okay.
Is it closer?
Uh, she's about the same.
Okay, the bridge.
Okay. All right. So they, she leads you off in that direction. You're running down that hallway. I think you're hearing behind you sounds that sound like masonry, like crunching and crumbling. You're hearing shouts and screams behind you, and
Yeah. I'm going to continue to yell in
Yeah.
warning as I go.
you have several people that you've already gathered to you, and more are joining since they see a group that seems to know what to do. I think a lot. You see that a lot of the people you encounter knew something was happening and were assuming that what they needed to do was like stay in their office or keep their head down or whatever. But you're leading people out. But as you're gathering this flock of people that you're leading out, Zinhorn and Nedry and Zaleen, let's get some stealth checks.
Still with advantage because we're still invisible.
Okay.
18.
19.
Okay.
Yeah, 18.
All right. So far, you feel like you've still managed to avoid being seen by any of these folks because they're kind of panicky and not really looking for invisible people. But if Carolina keeps gathering more people, it's going to get harder and harder. So you guys are running down this corridor towards this pedestrian bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
As you you come around, there's another intersection, and the halfling woman says, "Keep going straight." But as you look, down one side of it, you see that another one, like that whole hallway is like full of this stuff. It seems to have like entirely filled that hallway. So there wouldn't be any going that way even if you wanted to. But fortunately, the bridge is still straight ahead, so you're running towards it. You're hearing more sounds of destruction behind you. But you press forward. You come to what is obviously the edge of the building, and you can see where sort of there's a lot of windows around an area that is clearly a second story bridge over the road that goes to the next building over.
Keep going.
Yeah.
There it is, everyone.
Yeah. So there is
Stay the course.
also kind of a small sort of like patio area where like people can go out and like still on the second level, but there's a glass door that you can go out and stand out there on the second level. Would you go out that way, or would you go across the bridge?
I'd probably just go across the bridge. Just need to get out of this building. I think the patio is a bad idea, unless there are stairs down to the street. From there, can I tell?
You don't see any. There's not any right there.
All right, then just gonna keep going full steam.
All right, so you have gathered. Well, let's say roll 3d6 for me, and that's how many individuals you have gathered around you.
Got my regular dice here. 3d6.
About how high up are we?
Well, so second floor, but it's these big buildings often have like high ceilings on the first floor. So you'd say that this bridge is perhaps like 35 feet above the street level.
Have 16 is what I got.
All right, that's a you've got a whole little crowd of panicking people, but they're running along behind you because, you've led them out of the building. Good for you. So as far as you run across this bridge, it's not covered. So like you are outside, but on this bridge above the street level. So what are you doing now as you get out onto this bridge? Are you just going into the next building over? What is the plan?
I am going to herd the crowd, like to go past me and kind of watch for any stragglers and bring up the end.
Okay. I think as you're sort of looking back in order to guide them, you look up and you can see like the whole side of the building you just emerged from. And there are several places where there are just big, like moldy patches of this stuff that is clearly spreading to, encompass the entire building. It's currently, in terms of the side that you're on right now, you'd say it's already about 40% covered over with this stuff.
Oh, terrible shame. Oh, so as soon as I'm certain everyone's that as many as I could get have gone,
Mm-hmm.
then I
Yeah.
would cross the bridge to the building.
Okay. What's everyone else doing while Caroline is kind of like helping with those folks? Are you staying kind of invisible and all, or?
Mhm.
I'm trying to make like I don't exist.
Okay.
Probably
I'm like moving like Carolina. I'm like her movement because I'm her shadow.
Oh, now we get the musical.
Oh, that's
Carolina.
great. I love that, actually. I'm suddenly thinking of the Marx Brothers mirror routine. Okay, so
Just as a small correction, my name is Philindra. at the moment.
Philindra, excuse me, Philindra. But
Because that's
yes,
the kind of correction she would make.
Yeah, so I think that several of the people that you've gathered, you're kind of trying to encourage them to go ahead and go across the bridge into like safety question mark in the other building. But several of them are sort of just looking back and like in horror at like what's this bizarre alien fungus that's devouring their building.
They're like, oh my God, I didn't finish those data papers.
It's all right. There'll be time for sorting the mess later. We have to get clear.
I
Go
think
on, shoo.
As you watch the big tower that is kind of makes up one corner of the building that extends, several stories higher than the rest of the building, you can see that it's got this big fungus chunk out of the side of it. And then you see it actually start to topple. But then as it topples, you don't hear any crashing. So like it's sort of falling forward onto the roof of the rest of it. But then as it sort of falls out of sight, you don't hear like crumbling or tumbling or anything. Like it's like it falls into nothing.
Oh, those poor people. Time for morning later.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, what are you doing next? As far as you can tell right now, the fungus does seem limited to this one building, but that's like, what's next? What are you doing?
Get out of this building and get back to the castle.
Are you just running for it? I mean, that's legit. That's a completely legitimate approach. Is that what you're doing?
And as Nedry starts to, but the library, I'd just be like, no.
No, he's
Go
just
to a library in another town.
been pretty quiet lately, but
Yeah, I mean, I would love to try and stop and heal anyone who's hurt, but the whole building is collapsing silently, and I can't do anything about that.
And you're invisible.
And I'm trying to get out without being arrested.
Yeah.
You haven't seen much in the way of like soldiers since that initial sort of party that you pushed past, but you know, certainly as you are more easily able to make your way down to ground level, it's obvious that there's a big crowd forming around outside, watching whatever's happening to this building, and people sort of, you know, gaping. Excuse me. In awe and kind of alarm, watching all of this happen, and so it would be pretty easy to lose yourselves in the crowd.
Okay.
Mhm.
And at least
If I
among
see
the,
anyone who needs healing, I will risk getting caught and heal them
okay,
as I'm moving away.
there you don't see anyone who needs, you know, really needs help. You see some people who, you know, like scraped their knee or something running, but that's about it. That
Okay.
sort of thing. But what you do see as you're sort of making your way out through the crowd is that the entire front entryway of the building seems to have been entirely enveloped by this stuff. But you do notice that it does seem to, like some of these tendrils sort of probe outward, like, you know, out from the entrance, but you see some of them actually move forward and touching almost like there's a pane of glass or a force field there or something. They sort of probe forward and then curl against something invisible that is keeping them from going out into the street.
No. Okay, good. It's not going to spread and eat the whole city.
can I see if someone is doing that, or if there's some object or something they're reacting to?
Yes. Are you like going up closer to that to make an Arcana check, perhaps?
Yeah.
Okay.
24 on Arcana.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So I think that you notice that there does not seem to be a wall of force that's generally blocking all of anything. Oh, hey, look, there's someone on camera.
Invasion.
We miss you.
Is he carrying a potato?
So there doesn't seem to be a generic wall of force that would block anything, but it does, like, now that you've looked at it a little closer, there does seem to be some kind of a field that, as far as you can tell, would not obstruct your movement at all. And like maybe you even take just like a little pebble or something and toss it through and it goes through unobstructed, but it does seem to prevent the this fungus from penetrating.
Do I see anywhere there might be a source of this? I map it out, walk around, and see if there's an edge to it.
Well, so I think that you would. There is not one right near you, and at least where you are right now, it seems like it's pretty like smooth. It's not like you don't see a noticeable curve or anything like that. Now, that is definitely something you might be able to find out if you stick around and investigate more thoroughly. But obviously, in order to do that, you're going to kind of be obviously investigating this building that's collapsing.
Well, I don't know how long the invisibility lasts, but
I mean, it lasts an hour, but are you telling everybody to wait for you, or like they're gonna walk away?
Because I can't see you nothing. So
Are they within 60 feet?
I mean, I don't know. You guys tell me what you're doing.
you guys are invisible. I don't know where you are.
Yeah, I can't
You
see
would
you.
turn and try to see the nearest one and try to get within range.
Okay.
So whoever the nearest one happens to be, I can't see Zinhorn, so that's out. Actually, I
yeah,
can't.
I'm not getting
Holy
close.
Carolina.
So
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. Yeah. So if he can get within range of 60 feet or so, he would say to Carolina or Thilindra, I guess at this point, there's something holding it back. I want to take a closer look. I will be careful. I need to know what it is in case I can figure out how to do it myself.
We have to get back, Nedry.
This is dangerous.
Tell him
And
to
if I can
stop
figure
it.
out how to prevent it again or to stop it, I can do something better than just run.
Tell him if he dies, he won't be able to do any of those things.
If you get caught or arrested, you can't help anybody.
I'll be careful. You made me invisible. That's really helpful.
It only lasts an hour.
And I'll only take 59 minutes.
Can't be on the street when it wears off. Ugh.
All right, 55 minutes.
I think this is a city where people are invisible sometimes, right? Like it's not something that like people might be surprised, but they're going to understand what happened. You know what I mean? It's, it's a little bit like seeing someone in a weird costume on the subway. It's kind of like, yeah, people do that. It's weird, you know. You might comment on it to a friend, but that's about all you'd say unless it's a specific person that you recognize.
Defense mechanism. That's a fight or flight response, right? Something
So,
just ate the building.
Are
Oh
the rest
no.
of you leaving Nedry behind then, or?
I don't really want to leave without him, but also don't really want to stay here.
I'll be as quick as I can. I may not know anything about it. I may not figure it all out, but maybe I can find out who it was and I'll talk to them later.
15 minutes and we're going.
I activate my shadow self again.
Okay.
All right.
I'm still watching Carolina and looking around to make sure that
Yeah.
nobody's like sneaking up on us.
This is a silent conversation that Carolina is just sort of looking frustrated from, or Thilindra is looking frustrated and angry from time to time, I suspect.
She always looks that way anyhow, so.
Heck, nothing.
Do while we're standing here waiting for Nedry, do I see any of the guard type people that we saw inside that were wearing like the insignia?
So now that you're actually all kind of standing around and watching for a bit, you don't see any right away. But as time passes, you're starting to see like city emergency personnel start to show up on scene. But right now, everyone's looking at a building being devoured by a strange fungus, and they don't know what to do. Right? So mostly what you're getting right now is people trying to get everybody to stay back, shouting at people to, give it a distance, clear it out, make sure that there's, if anyone comes out of the building, make sure they have some, they can get away, not crowd, and trying to basically clear up this commotion, essentially. Not in a nothing to see here way, because that's stupid, but like at the same time, it's a little bit of like, let's not just have a crowd of people who are gonna get crushed if that building falls over. So trying to get people further back because they don't know what's happening. But certainly as time goes on, more and more of this building is starting to do kind of what that tower did, where you see little bits of it start to like sort of crumble inward, almost like it's hollow, except that like it's not like a building implosion where the whole thing kind of comes down. It's almost more like watching like a pumpkin rot. It's sort of just collapsing in on itself a little bit at a time.
Have like military grade mages or anybody shown up that's trying to attack the fungus?
It has literally only been a few minutes.
Okay.
So
I
you
think what I would be doing as we wait for Nedry is just kind of like listen to crowd noise, see what other people are saying, see if I can pick up any tidbits.
Okay. Make a perception check.
Not my best, but actually not terrible. But 12. There's a lot of noise.
Yeah, I mean, and what you're getting is 100 different variations on, oh my God, what's happening? What is that stuff? Which, I mean, fair, right? Like, that's that's what almost everyone has to say about it. Um, and I think as more time goes on, you do start seeing some people in, the emperor's like mage corps. Um, People, some of them clearly have fly spells on them, coming in, and landing on, adjacent rooftops, and they're clearly shouting instructions to each other and trying to make their own, assessment of what's going on. In the meantime, Nedry, how are you conducting your investigation here, given what you saw, which is that there is a field of some kind out in front of the main entrance? How would you be proceeding with your investigation?
I'm kind of looking at where the field is and then turning around to look at the crowd there to look for someone who might be concentrating on it or someone who might be, casting a spell or something like that, or
Okay.
using an item maybe.
Sure. Make an insight check.
Insight. Okay.
Yeah.
11.
Yeah, you can't tell.
Okay. If he can't see anybody, then he's just going to try to work through the logic of the spell
Mm-hmm.
and see if he can figure out at least what to look for.
Make an Arcana check.
16.
I think you believe that because this field, the part of it that you have been able to look at, how close are you getting, by the way?
To the field?
Yeah. Like to this
Fairly.
place where you can see the fungus tendrils bumping up against something.
Yeah, he wouldn't push through it, but he would get fairly close to it and see if there's some sort of emanation, if it feels like it gives off energy of any kind, and
Mm-hmm.
sort of do that version of Arcana where you're kind of examining a feature and trying
Yeah,
to figure it
yeah.
out.
So I think that based on what you can tell, it does not seem to be like a circular field, right? Like even one that would be big enough to encompass the entire building, you would expect to see more of a curve if it was a circle, right? And so most of the fields that you are like aware of in terms of how they can be generated like in a spherical shape or like in a flat shape, right? This one seems to be flat version, right? And you are aware of certain spells like Wall of Force or whatever that, can be concentrated on and maintained in that way. But you also know that there can be, like in your abjuration studies, you know that certain fields can be maintained with sort of sigils. Like you can make sort of wards with glyphs and that sort of thing. And so you think it's possible, given that it's not a circle, that there might be, if it's being done with glyphs, there might be glyphs at the corners.
Okay.
Something has to be defining the boundary of it.
All right. Can I kind of move to try to find a corner? Also, does it seem like it has a height? Are the tendrils trying to reach up higher, or does it?
I think that like from where you are, you're not seeing like the building has a bigger footprint on the ground floor than as it goes up in levels. And so none of the tendrils coming out higher seem to be encountering anything as far as you can tell. But they are also not extending as far. So you don't know if it means that the field just doesn't go out that far or if it's just flat and it's nothing else is reaching out as far.
Okay.
But you certainly kind of try to make your way towards, where maybe a corner of this would be, and you do find a mark on the sidewalk. It's been drawn, magically with. It's not like sidewalk chalk, but it's special magical chalks that have created a currently active magical glyph on the sidewalk that seems to be defining the corner of this field.
Okay. he reaches for his book and realizes that he can't see it to write, and kind of sits down beside it and just tries to memorize it.
Okay. Yeah, I think you can do that reasonably quickly. It's not a glyph that you recognize, although because you are an abjuration specialist, I think you understand the basics of it. That essentially what the glyph is doing, as mentioned, is kind of defining the boundary. It's not creating the field, but it is telling the field where to be.
Okay.
All right. Is anyone else taking action, or are you just kind of watching in horror as this building eats itself? Or gets eaten? I suppose it's not really eating itself.
Horror. Definitely horror.
Yeah. So,
Fascination.
yeah. I mean, I think that there's maybe a thought in the backs of your minds that if an entire building was going to get demolished, there would be maybe more violent ways to have it happen, because this feels a little bit more like watching something decompose. But it's happening pretty fast. The mages have made a couple of sort of initial attempts, trying various things that they're targeting patches of the mold. But then you also, I think they've established, as more and more of this building gets consumed, it does become increasingly clear that it does not seem to be spreading to other buildings. And so there, I think, Nedry, shortly after you were examining that glyph, you're realizing that some of these mages are coming your way, and they're going to be looking at the same things that you have been. But also, they may well have things like see invisibility up because they're trying to solve a magical mystery. So, what are you doing as you see them approaching?
He kind of wants to keep reading the glyph, but at the same time, he knows his time is up. It's probably been more than 15 minutes at this point anyway.
Yeah.
So he's going to kind of look down and then just start jogging away.
Okay. I think that as well. So how do you are you looking for Trilindra?
If they haven't moved, I'm kind of starting there, and then if they
Yeah,
have moved,
I would have stayed in one place because I can't see him.
so probably what happens is he starts running in the direction he thinks they are, realize he's been going around the building, and then makes a big curve to try to correct.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's this, weird sort of path.
Yeah. Make another stealth check for me. I think this one
Sure.
not with advantage, because even though the invisibility would grant advantage, it's disadvantage because you are a small person who people can't see trying to run through a crowd.
Okay.
So the problem is that people won't know that there's anyone there to bump into, and they will start to, like any empty space, they're going to try to fill the space.
Yep. And I think that as he's moving through it, once again, it's like, oh, sorry, excuse me. And I
Yeah.
got a 10.
Okay. Yeah, I think you definitely bump into several people, and so, they don't see you, but several people are potentially aware that there was an invisible person somewhere.
Yeah. There's sort of the crowd shot of like, oof, hey, what?
Yeah.
Ah,
Mm-hmm.
sorry.
All right. So, do you want to make a perception check to see if you can spot your friend?
Natural 20.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you find her. No problem.
And I kind of walk up and then realize she can't see me either. Oh, I'm back. We should probably go. I
Right.
don't know if there's anything I can do here.
Well,
Anyway.
I think the show's over for now. Yeah.
I
Time to
think
go home.
The buildings.
it's still progressing, but at the very least, people seem to have there's a little bit less panic in the crowd right now, because it seems obvious that, like, as scary as it is, it's not spreading as far as they can tell. So there's more people who seem like they're gonna, let's see how this all pans out. But then as you are kind of like collecting yourselves and starting to make, a move towards like moving away, I think you see like halfway up the block a little bit, you see some soldiers that are clearly having like a hushed, whispered argument with each other, and it looks like that someone has brought like like road blocking, like barricade type materials.
Well, I'm just going to go right up to him.
Okay. I mean, they're not obstructing your path or anything right now, but you go up.
I'm
to
just
them.
going to keep going unless stopped.
Okay, yeah. So, I think that as you pass, one of them is like makes a like exasperated gesture in your direction, as he makes a point to the other one, is saying, "We need to contain the situation," and the other guy is saying, "If you want to tell that whole crowd of people that they need to stay next to the fungus building, then be my guest. I'm not going to do it." And so there seems to be some disarray, but with some impulse from some organization to try to set up a like containment or quarantine or something. But it's already like too late for that. People are already leaving, obviously, like you are, but you're also not the first.
Yep.
Okay.
Walk like I have places to go. Not like running, but, it's all business.
Let's get one last stealth check from the stealthy folks.
Again, not an advantage because of the crowds, or
This one is fine because you're moving away from where the people are packed in.
All right. Same rules apply. First roll
11.
19.
11.
Okay. Yeah, I think that if these two guys weren't so distracted by their argument, they might have spotted like, is that a moving shadow? But they're busy, so they
Don't all
don't.
shadows move?
Well, yeah, but look, that's beside the point right now. We're talking about the barricade. Yeah, in any case, you guys are able to get out past any semblance of, street blockage, and you are free to move about the city.
All right. Back to the castle.
Delindra, you might want to be somebody else, just in case anybody saw you.
We didn't hear whatever it was that you said.
Oh, I said, it's fine.
Oh, okay. You don't change?
Nope.
Okay.
Not out in like full view of it. Heck
Sure.
no.
All right. So I think that you do, like a few minutes after that, you do get another, you get a sending from Yobert saying, there is chaos happening downtown. There's some sort of disaster is what people are talking about at the building. Are you all right?
We are on our way back as we speak. We will explain everything when we arrive.
Okay, so you're making your way back towards the castle. Are you stopping anywhere on the way, or are you just kind of
No.
like
Nope.
run?
We like walk by the library and we just kick some stones.
Yeah. All right. So I think you are you don't have any difficulty making your way back to the castle. Although certainly, I think as you go by, you definitely are hearing various people gossiping about. You're watching almost as you pass through the spread of the news of what's happening, and I think almost in slow motion, like as you progress, you're watching the news evolve, like to the point where via game of telephone, via game of Sending Stone, by the time you're back out of the skyport, people are saying, I heard the whole downtown got sucked into a crater.
No, man, I heard it was a meteorite.
Well, but like a meteorite would make a big explosion, right? Like this was a sinkhole. I think it's, maybe it's finally the Underdark has come to claim the city.
Duh, it's a quiet meteorite. Have you not read anything?
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I saw a bunch of driders walking around. I think the Underdark theory is right.
Traders are a myth.
In any case, yeah, I think you discover that this is not an incident that anyone is going to be able to keep entirely quiet, if nothing else, because a notable building is now gone.
As we walk up the steps, I'm like, I don't care if they want us to come in for questioning on that. I'm not going.
You know, well, once we're like definitely away from other people, I'll say, I thought that guy was actually like trying to help us get out of the building, but he tried to kill us.
Yeah, I'm noticing a trend that I don't know if this is the way things go in this world or not. Maybe you guys could help me understand it. But it seems like everybody wants something, something, something all the time. And apparently we have what they want. And when we don't give it to them, they either want to hurt us or not give us any help.
We can't.
Well,
we have
let
to.
me assure you, dear, not everyone in this world is like that.
No, only one person is.
No, I think two now.
At least.
Like Tanglefoot is like that. And this weird, whatever that guy, we don't even know what that person is really. We don't know anything. That person can change their face.
I
Like-
mean, I don't know if Nedry even said anything about that to any of you.
But he did say it was that guy.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
mean, I told you it was. I did. Okay, never mind.
Well, he
That's
told Carolina, yeah.
He would
he
confirm
told
at this
me,
point
yeah.
anyway,
Okay,
but
sure.
he told Caroline in her head
fine. Mhm.
initially.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know why they're doing this. And I don't like it.
No.
But they know who we are.
Yeah.
And that means we can't stay here. If we
Yeah.
stay here, then we bring everybody in danger.
Maybe
I don't want to do that.
I'll be right back.
Well-
we can take everyone with us.
I think it might be best if we discuss this with our patron.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I just don't like it. It's not nice. Everybody wants something and it's so terrible. Like Tanglefoot, who knows what that thing wants?
Mhm.
I think I have an idea what he might have wanted at one point. But it's not really important anymore. And Nedry looks a lot more quiet and subdued than usual.
I feel like this is our fault. Like what happened?
Nedry, make a wisdom saving throw.
Is it magic?
Yes.
Okay, let me get advantage. 18.
Okay. Let's see. On a successful save. Yeah, you are not aware of anything happening.
There's at least two, I think. I don't know if they're working together or what.
But I feel like everything that happened, all those people, there were so many people in that building and now they're all gone. I feel like that's our fault. Because
No.
they were drawing us there. They wanted us there so they could take us for whatever purpose, whatever they want from us. Them drawing us in there got all those people hurt and killed.
It is those people who deserve the blame in this.
but we have to try
Agree.
to stop it, even if it isn't our fault.
Agree.
We just try to do good things, and people just want to cause chaos.
Well, I think it might be time for our road trip.
Let's discuss this when we're in a more private area.
Yeah.
I assume we had gotten back to the castle, I'm afraid, but
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So
I thought we were like walking up the stairs.
Yeah, I thought we were pretty much right there.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you
There
guys
just
want
weren't
to
many
say
people
that,
around was my
yeah,
understanding.
like I kind of assumed you were almost there, but if you guys feel like you would have waited until you were in the castle, I mean, you guys tell me.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
probably wouldn't have said too much until
Mhm.
I was certain.
Hey,
And you wouldn't-
Zinhorn, make a wisdom save.
Okay. Six.
Okay. You are not aware of anything happening.
But something is.
You know what? Like in reality, this is a perfect illustration of the sort of role that like the DM probably ought to just make for the PC behind.
well,
the
it's really
scenes.
funny because I rolled high, he rolled low. We both don't know what's going on. um, Yeah.
So I think Zinhorn,
Yeah.
you hear a voice in your head. And the voice says, "Your small friend can't be reasoned with. But you need to give me what I want so that I can deal with it properly, or what happened today will happen again."
What exactly is it that you want?
I mean, you don't get an answer.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I would really like it if people just stopped trying to kill us, and that would be great. That's
Oh,
what I want.
sorry. The dude that tried to kill us was talking to me in my head.
Oh, what did he say?
He said that that Nedry couldn't be reasoned with, so he was talking to me and saying that I should give him what he wants, or this will happen again. And I think the threat was against the castle.
What did he want, Nedry?
You wanted the bag.
That
But
guy.
what did he
Want the
want in the
or
bag?
something in the bag?
Maybe he wasn't really all that specific. But he wouldn't tell me why. I only work with information. I don't work like you do, Zinhorn. I can't do things on faith.
Yeah, I have no faith in someone who tries to kill me and my
Yeah.
friends and then threatens our home.
I'm not as worried about me. I'm more worried about all those people who were there.
Yeah, I'm worried about them too. I would have much rather stopped to help. But
I need to go do something. Excuse me.
and he runs off. He runs to the
Henry.
messaging room, the sending room.
Okay.
Okay.
He sends a message to his mother.
Okay.
Are you okay? Is everything okay? Have you seen anything strange lately?
Hello. I haven't. It's nice to hear from you. Is everything all right? If you need to come home, you can.
No, everything's fine here. We're all fine here. How are you?
We're fine
Oh.
here too. But you're the one that doesn't sound fine.
Sorry, just had I had a paper rejected and it threw me a little. I'll be in touch. Love you.
Love you too.
And kind of wanders back.
Okay.
I think while Nedry was doing that, it was probably Carolina again and explaining everything to
Yeah.
Yobert and Brennan and Sorashana. She's there, but
Yeah. They're
assume
kind of
she's
just
busy.
absorbing this. And yeah, it's a lot. And Yobert, I think, after hearing the whole story, is saying, do we have any evidence of this person?
Well, there were those two people that he hired as muscle, I suppose, for the bridge meeting. But if he can change his appearance, I don't know how much good that will do.
My concern is that they're going to think that you did this.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what happened because I know Tabitha, and I don't believe that she was deceiving me when she asked for you to come in for an interview. I have a hard time believing that this was all a front just to arrest you. Something else must have happened.
Well, there was a moment towards the end of the conversation where she seemed to get a sending message of some sort, and she stopped the interview and went to see to whatever it was and locked the door on her way out.
Someone contacted her.
Hmm. But I don't know if she survived. I tried to get as many people as I could out of the building, but there was only so much I could do.
It's just a tough decision sometimes. Disasters of this type, I don't know that there's right answers and wrong answers. I'm glad that you're all right.
Yeah. Although I think that's going to stick with me for a while. I could still hear people in the building when we were running. But there wasn't anything I could do for them.
You did what you could.
I suppose. I just wish it would have been more.
Brennan asks, do we think that this weirdo with the fungus, is he working, like, is he connected to why they were going to arrest you? Or is how many moving pieces do we have here?
Well, he spoke to Nedry shortly after the woman appeared to get Tabitha got the message and then left the room.
He was disguised as Tabitha's scribe, Paige.
Well, he was the second time the page came in, but we don't know if he was there the whole time as the page, or he just took that form the second time. But he also spoke to Nedry in his mind, and he spoke to me in my mind just before we entered the castle. So moving pieces wise, we don't need anything other than him making trouble for us and then trying to kill us in order to have the the facts all fit together.
So this is not fact. It's something that struck me. So we have two people that are clearly very connected to Dinither. One is in the bag, the other one is trying to get the bag. So I wonder if maybe there's been some talk about some sort of expedition to, I don't remember the name of the place. Emersham? Emersheim? Emersheim. Yeah. So I wonder if maybe these two people weren't part of that same expedition. If the one clearly saw things, he mentioned something about it was full of nightmares, and we've seen Tanglefoot. So I wonder if maybe they don't know each other.
Is everybody in this conversation, or is I don't want to.
Yeah, I thought we were all there.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure, so, didn't want to assume. So I think what Yobert says is, I agree, that sounds like an important lead. I think there is something happening that we don't understand yet at multiple levels of the government here, and there's a conspiracy of some sort, and perhaps more than one. My position grants me some privilege in this regard. I fear that if we were to all leave town, that would simply be seen as guilt.
Agreed.
But I don't think it's safe for you to stay in the city right now.
Also agreed.
Perhaps it would be best to find another task to pursue, another thread to pull, so to speak, especially if we think it could shed some light on what's happening here. But in the meantime, I'll stay behind and vouch for you, pass along what you've told me here, and hopefully can get some answers from a political perspective and avoid having you all branded as whatever they might try to put on you. Traitors, probably.
They called us like subjects, like they wanted to
Study us.
experiment on us or study us or something.
Well, that I don't know that that word is necessarily critical. I mean, that could just be, a term used to indicate who they're looking for. A subject of interrogation, a subject of interest, so on. I mean, you may be right. I don't know, but the word subject seems generic to me. But
Well,
what uniforms were they wearing? The ones that seems to be coming to arrest you.
they had the Emperor's crest on them.
You do remember that, and he asks about anything else, and anything else you can remember about them, and I will allow you to make perception rolls to see if you remember any other details about that.
21.
Okay.
19.
I think with the 21, Carolina, are you still Trilindra?
No, switch back.
Okay. Yeah. So you recall that there was beneath the insignia there was kind of a smaller patch of kind of blue and gold of just some kind of a symbol that you didn't really recognize. And I think Zaleen, you certainly recall seeing that too. When you mentioned that, he says, I believe that that is the Emperor's, it's not the polite term, but it's their secret police. It's his personal security individuals. Like that's not who they would send after
Well,
someone who caused a ruckus in a train station.
she told us, she asked about what we do, and we told her, that we work with you. And
She seemed very happy with everything until she got that message.
yeah, and she actually she was suggesting that maybe we could help them with things like what we do with you, because
See,
they have things like that happen from time to time.
That is more in line with what I expected from this meeting, just based on the way that it was all invited, is that they needed to clear up some things from their paperwork, but they were intrigued by the mission of the organization. But
Have you? I wonder, because things with the Reclaimers Academy was so, the legality of it is a little fuzzy, and clearly someone of, high rank didn't really want things being poked around in. So I wonder if that might be part of this.
someone who, well, let's put this together in terms of the things we would know. Clearly, they would have found whatever was left of the treasure cache when they are investigating the cave-in, I would guess.
I don't
Or-
think there was much left.
Well,
The
but
box with its symbol.
I mean,
Didn't
they
we
would-
destroy that?
You did. Yeah, that's right. You did. You sort of. Wait, did you?
Didn't we shatter it?
You did. That's right. Wait. Okay. I think you did talk about that. Yeah. Okay. I think I do remember that happening. And then, yeah. Okay. Never mind. So, but the point is that if it's possible that someone else knew what was there, then hearing about a cave-in beneath the tracks, if someone did know, someone else knew that there was something buried there.
Maybe what they were investigating 8 decades ago has come up again. Diligent espers never came back. So, if anybody knows anything about what was happening, and suspicions about the Reclaimers Academy were high at that point, and now if something's happening there, we could have reopened an investigation of some kind.
Did we do anything with those remains? Were they sent away?
You still have them.
Ugh.
Spoke to them.
The ones that were in the bag?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in the
Diligent
room.
espers.
They're in the newly
The corpse
dubbed
room.
room.
Well, those are just bones, though. So.
Mm-hmm. But still,
Mhm.
and any cleric could do, just like we did, and find out who it is.
Well, no, because can't you only do that once? Like after it's been done, or can another cleric do it?
I don't know that there's that restriction.
I'm not a
No, yeah, there is a restriction that if it has been cast on a set of remains, the timer applies to anyone.
Yeah.
But it's like 7 days, though, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But still, if they know, if they find out who those remains belong to, and tie it to us, and then tie it back to what happened 80 something years ago, I mean,
There's
they're
one.
going to know what we're looking at.
There's one other person we could ask, but it's very dangerous.
Who?
And I don't know what Isolde would be thinking of all of this. She's the one that put Diligent Espers in the bag and never came back for them.
Well, I don't think she
She's the one that
intended.
attacked the academy in the first place.
I don't think she. I think she intended to come back, though. Has Shauna made any progress with the cards?
Was she working on the cards?
Well, I
I
think they
don't-
were
I
looking
th- I
at the
thought-
spiders, but
Yeah.
the last
no,
time
like,
I saw anything about this, there was that device. It was the first time we went and talked to Tanglefoot. So
no, I mean she's been working on other things, but not the cards is not something that she's been like. As far as I know, you guys have been treating the cards somewhat like you still technically have possession of the circlet, right? So it's like, it's a dangerous artifact that could be powerful, but is also potentially dangerous. So what are you doing with it? You guys tell me. It's not something that you assigned to Sorashana to like figure it out.
I thought somebody had come up with a way to extract just one person out of the cards. Was
No, you
that-
guys talked
No,
about the
okay.
idea that that would be nice if you knew how to do it, but this is not a device or a construct. It's just like a straight up magic item. So it's
well, I know, but Shauna had been working on some kind of thing to pull out a particular card, and
okay. So
like,
what I'm
when we
telling
came
you
out of the
right
bag.
now is whatever amount of time she spent on it, she does not have an answer for that.
Okay.
I don't think you ever said, okay, Sorashana, you spend your downtime on that. I don't think that was ever like you talked about. Wouldn't it be nice if you were able to do that?
There's been a lot of stuff happening.
Yeah.
Just wanted to go to the library.
I know.
Well,
I never went to a library before.
I don't know if they're working with. They need a name. I can't call them New York because I don't really know if they are. Whatever they are. But I don't know if they're working with them or working against them or just happen to be there. But some powerful wizard, or I assume anyway, managed to contain that thing. And I don't know whether they planned it ahead of time or just happened to be there, but it seems suspicious they'd be able to set up that wall so quickly.
Well, I mean, maybe whoever this person is works closely with those people, like with Tabitha, so they know about things. And when they heard that we were involved, maybe he pushed to have us go there so that he could try to get at you again.
Maybe.
And like, why does he want the bag now? He didn't say that before, did he?
so there's some things in that bag that might be of value to him. Like Tanglefoot is in there, and there's this map that we don't really know much about. Although, like, he wanted the book and said, you can go ahead and read it. And he's like, oh, I could tell you the secret of the map, but I don't know at this point that we should.
I think me personally, like I'm done bargaining with him because it just causes more problems. I know he knows things that we want to know, but I think we should try to find another way.
I agree. I don't want any more of his. It's not worth the price that he wants.
I don't know enough.
That's what usually you want to.
I know. And I want to ask him a million questions. And I want to know who he is and how he did this and how he became what he is. He said he wasn't like this before. So he was changed. And sometimes these changes come on you and they change you, but they can be undone sometimes.
But I know that he was physically changed, but I think he was always kind of a jerk.
Don't know.
Be cursed.
Yeah.
I think
And s-
Yobert says these are all important questions, but I'm not sure that we have what we need in order to discover the answers tonight. I certainly don't wish to chase you out of town. I worry for your safety. If you would wish to stay, we could make the appropriate precautions. But if you wish to travel to Emersham, I would say probably the sooner the better.
I think so.
Are we gonna go
Maybe
to?
go to bed early and leave before dawn? Or now?
I don't
Is
know.
now
Maybe we
better?
should leave now. I mean, I don't want anything that's happened to us. I mean, ever since Zinhorn said that, after he talked to the whatever that guy is, now I'm worried about here.
Hmm. And I think Yobert says, and although ordinarily my recommendation and preference would be for the lightning rail, under the circumstances, I'm not sure going back to the train station right now is the wisest path. But of
No, I don't
course,
think so.
but of course, we are already on Skyport Tower. Perhaps we charter an airship.
I've never
Or
been on one of those.
that could attract attention. Could also arrange passage on one that's already taking cargo. Less comfortable, but perhaps more discreet.
I'm going to vote for going more discreet.
I don't need anything fancy.
All right then. So I'll start making some inquiries, and we'll get to the bottom of this. You can perhaps not rest assured, but know at least that I believe in you. I know that you wouldn't have performed the atrocity that we saw downtown. I know that you're investigating something dangerous and that it's important. And I will have your, I will have your backs. I will support you, and I will say as much to any authorities that should come asking.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just make sure to tell everybody we've left if anybody asks.
Oh, they will ask. And I think perhaps we will briefly sort of, not quite end the session, but we go to a slight montage of you guys maybe starting to figure out like what you need to take with you and that sort of thing. And I'll just go ahead and say, you guys do a roll off of a history check, just to just to see who gets the highest. Just someone's gonna get this.
Won't be me.
I just
Not
want
me.
10.
1.
19.
I think. Okay. So I guess Nedry, you are the one. Like, this is not like a definitive fact or something, but one of the things that kind of just, out of all of the stuff that you heard and saw today, one of the things that just seems to not quite go away is when you were talking to Tabitha, she said that she believed that you were not responsible for the cave-in, and it must be the kobolds because, after all, they fled the scene. But you know that, like, that was their place of business and that you had made arrangements with them that they were going to stay and answer questions.
Yeah, that did occur to me, but
Wrote it down.
Right. So
sus.
draw whatever conclusions you like from that, but I think it does raise a question. But it does also appear that the pocket protectors are going to need to flee the city.
Road trip.
Road trip. So we will
Oh,
find
are
out.
we literally going to have a beach episode? Because
I mean, obviously. So I think we will have to find out what happens next for the pocket protectors when we return in 2 weeks for more adventure on so many levels.
so many levels.
So many
many
levels.